An American author and disability rights advocate, Helen Keller, said, and I quote, "Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much." This is NAPTIP On The Move. My name is Angela Agbegi. Our feature today brings you NAPTIP's partnership with the International Organization for Migration, IOM. Highlights of some of the milestones achieved during the tenure of the outgoing Chief of Mission, Franz Celestin. Don't go away, it's NAPTIP On The Move.
Partnerships play a major role in achieving set goals and targets. It is one of the strategies employed by NAPTIP in its fight against human trafficking and violence against persons. This fight requires formidable partnership and collaboration of all stakeholders. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, is one of NAPTIP's major partners.
Partnership between NAPTIP and IOM is as old as the establishment of the agency itself, and it is a relationship that supported the agency in achieving so many milestones, so many wins, too numerous to mention here. But just to mention a few, over the years, IOM has supported the agency in the renovation and furnishing of our shelters across the country. We have 10 shelters in 9 states, including the FCT. They've assisted us in tons and tons of capacity building for prosecutors, for investigators, for even our public relations unit, and sponsorship of the Blue Bus Project, which for me personally is one of my favorites, and it's a moving awareness creation strategy where buses, stop at busy and public areas like markets and bus stops to sensitize the public on issues of trafficking in persons and also smuggling of migrants. And it started in Lagos, moved to Benin, and also moved to Delta State. It was a very, very successful awareness campaign. As we all know, we can't have enough of awareness creation. So that particular project for me was extremely, extremely impactful. Then of course, we know what their forte is, which is repatriation and empowerment of victims of trafficking and also smuggling of migrants. And of course, they've assisted NAPTIP in the purchase of, office equipment, not just for our HQ here in Abuja, but also for our zones. My experience since I came on board in September 2021 has been amazing. They just supported the 25th National Stakeholders Consultative Forum. They've also supported with additional tons and tons of capacity building, NAPTIP On The Move, which, it's a platform in which we're using today. Then we're in the process of finalizing another project which will support the mental health support of, NAPTIP officers. And one thing people take for granted is we always focus on survivors, we focus on victims. What about the caregivers?
France Celestin is the outgoing Chief of Mission for the International Organization for Migration.
I've been here for about 6 years. In fact, by the time I leave, it'll be 2 months shy of 6 years. Imagine I've been working for IOM for 16 years, and more than a third of it has been spent in Nigeria. Prior to coming to Nigeria, I worked in East Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, Somalia, and Uganda and Tanzania. And before that, I actually covered North America and the Caribbean, where I worked in the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago, Bahamas, and most of the islands, and I also covered the US. So you could see my career path at IOM, and what we'll see from now on runs through Nigeria. IOM, along with other UN agencies like UNODC, our job is to provide protection to those who've been trafficked or potential victims of trafficking. But when we have such a strong agency like the NAPTIP, what we do is assist that agency. Instead of us doing the work, we provide technical support, we provide assistance where necessary. But NAPTIP has been at the forefront of the fight against this heinous crime. Nigeria is, a transit country, a country of a destination, and also a country where a lot of victims are trafficked from. So you need a hyper-vigilant agency like NAPTIP to disrupt these criminals.
Having worked in Nigeria for 6 years, he speaks on his experience with NAPTIP.
I've seen the natural progression of NAPTIP, the natural growth and expansion of NAPTIP, not only getting stronger and making sure these criminals are prosecuted, but I've seen NAPTIP extended its capacity outside of the country, going to Mali, working in Senegal, now working with, having agreements with the neighboring countries like the one signed with Niger, and I know there's more to come. I've seen, when I came here, there were no state task forces, and I think last time I checked there were 12. So that's progress. Even if we're making baby steps, we're making steps. And NAPTIP is moving forward. That's what you want to see in an agency. Yes, there are challenges, there are difficulties, but what we see is progress. Now, where NAPTIP can work with, and there are something that is beyond NAPTIP's capacity. For example, getting the judge to provide and dispense the proper sentences, to dispense justice to those who've violated the law. And I've seen NAPTIP working with the judges, training them, and we've been working and assisting NAPTIP to do this, because it's one thing to disrupt, to prevent, and to catch these criminals. It's quite another to put them away for the crimes that they've committed.
He then recalls some of the milestones achieved during his tenure as IOM's Chief of Mission in Nigeria.
I was privileged to have a solid team working with me here, so my success is their success. We have 1,500 staff here in Nigeria for IOM. Their diligence, their hard work, their courage is what puts a spotlight on what we do, and by extension, what I do. So some of these milestones we can claim, and again, has to do with the work that we've done with NAPTIP, is the more than 22,000 people we brought back from Libya. You may recall a lot of these people were in bondage. They were traded as slaves. Imagine in the 21st century, this is happening right next door. So working with NAPTIP, working with all of the various agencies, bringing these people back, and trying to, more importantly, prevent them from being exposed to the same again, and trying to address their vulnerability. I think that could be something, if we had to pound our chest, we could use as a success factor. And there's quite a bit, again, to do in terms of reintegrating them back. Some of the success that I've seen while I've been here the last 6 years, the national migration policy, the labor migration policy, the diaspora policy. There's quite a bit to be proud of, even the border security and management policy that has been approved, all of them at the FERC level, that are parts and parcel of Nigerian law. But what I would claim the most successful is the improvement and the tightening of the relationship that we have with NAPTIP and then all of the agencies, because that makes the life better, that makes the work better, and that makes us more responsive and accountable to the people we serve, who are the most vulnerable in this country.
Franz Celestin describes the relationship between IOM and NAPTIP as excellent.
When you start a new relationship, there's always a little bit of conflicts and frictions because we're just trying to know, okay, where are the boundaries? Where are the lines? We certainly experienced that in the beginning. What we see now, we settle into a groove. We are working together, we're improving. So what I could tell you is that we're going from strength to strength. We understand each other, we know what is necessary to do our work and where each of our boundaries are and what is required from each of us to get the job done. Ultimately, we are responsible to the vulnerable. And when we work together, we do a lot better. So you've heard better together, and that's the phrase here. And that's what we've seen in Nigeria, what we have done with NAPTIP. Excellent relationship, joint work planning, and coordination is the key, and communication. Clear communication. Just like any relationship, you have to communicate clearly. You have to make sure that the person on the other side understands what's going on, where you want to go, and the vision of what we want to do. I want to see and hear NAPTIP getting stronger. NAPTIP not only keeping pace with the criminals, but staying 3-4 steps ahead of them. That's my expectation, and that's what seeing the vision of the agency, seeing what's been happening before and what's going on now, I have high hopes.
As his work in Nigeria draws to a close, he bears his mind on his impression of Nigeria and Nigerians.
As I counted down the days, I see a little bit every day. I said, oh, I'm going to miss this, I'm going to miss this. But most of all, I'm going to miss the people, the resilience of the people. You know, most people define resilience. In fact, I think the standard definition of resilience is the ability to bounce back after a catastrophic event or withstanding a hazard. But I think what I've seen in Nigeria, we would define resilience as the ability to bounce forward. We don't go back to where we were, we go forward. So that's what I've seen, that's what I'm taking with me. The natural beauty of the country, the immense resources. If we can tap into this, the youth. I'm saying this because I'm exposed to my colleagues here. I see their brilliance, the ingenuity, the ability to innovate. You put a Nigerian in the proper environment, they don't survive, they thrive. Look at the best doctors in the NHS, they're Nigerians. Look at in the US, there are more Nigerian PhDs in any other ethnic group in that country, in the US. So, and so when I see my colleagues here, what I do is to give them the space to thrive and give them the space to spread their wings and fly. So these are some of the things that I'm taking with me, you know, the beauty, the strength, the bravery, and what I see my colleagues do day in, day out. So 1,500 staff and throughout the country, we are present in 107 LGAs throughout the country. So we have quite a big footprint. And I can tell you throughout my travels, even in RAN, in Angola, and Dikwa, I see the strength of the people. So that's what I'm taking with me. They give me energy.
Finally, a word for Nigerians.
I would say, given what I've seen in the last few years, I say traffickers, don't get comfortable. Be ready. NAPTIP is on your trails, and NAPTIP is going to catch up with you. For parents, be wide-eyed, because these guys are coming up with all sorts of attractive ideas to lure you in. If it sounds too good to be true, it is indeed too good to be true. They are typically trying to exploit you. So stay alert, connect with NAPTIP. If you see it, report it. And I know NAPTIP has a number of hotlines that if somebody offers you something, ask the questions. Call a trusted person, call the trusted line of NAPTIP. Get that information. They would probably tell you who's legit and who's not. Who's nefarious and who's an honest broker. I'd like to say to the Nigerian people, thank you from the bottom of my heart for making my life here easy, for making my work here easy. But what I'd like to say to the people, work with NAPTIP. This is your agency. It was put in place to support and to support those who need it the most, but also to catch and prosecute criminals. So be an agent of NAPTIP. Be NAPTIP's eyes on the ground. Despite the agency's strength, you cannot monitor 218 million people. So if you see it, report it.
The Director General of NAPTIP, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi, speaks on the personality of the outgoing IOM Chief of Mission.
I met the outgoing Chief of Mission, Franz, barely 7 months when I came on board in September. And the professional relationship is one I considered as being very fluid, very graceful, and effortless. IOM epitomizes the definition of partnership. They are reliable, they are consistent, they are dependable, and really it's the kind of attributes that you look for in a friend. And Franz as an individual is a very impressive person, very impressive human being, extremely smart, very experienced, yet humble. And for me, humility is one of the most attractive thing you'll find in a human being. And for a person occupying a position of leadership, for that person to succeed, you have to surround yourself with a very formidable and very reliable team. And I can say same for the IOM team in Nigeria.
It is evident that the relationship between IOM and NAPTIP is a very productive one that continues to yield fruitful results, ensuring that victims of human trafficking are repatriated and given a better life. It is indeed a partnership that works. NAPTIP On The Move is sponsored by the International Organization for Migration, IOM.
Indeed, a partnership worth celebrating. Now let's take a look at our event segment. Stay with NAPTIP On The Move. The Director General of NAPTIP, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi, received members of the Nigerian Bar Association Buari branch, led by Mrs. Chinyere Moneme, the Desk Officer for Sexual and Gender-Based Violence, SGBV. The objective of the meeting was to deliberate on areas of partnership with the agency and also strengthen collaboration in the areas of SGBV campaigns. The Nigerian Bar Association Buari branch is also in partnership with NAPTIP in the areas of awareness creation. In her response, the Director General commended the association for its cooperation and also presented features of the sex offenders database domiciled with NAPTIP. She then reiterated the agency's willingness to work with relevant agencies and stakeholders to integrate the National Sex Offender Register for easy access to information. A federal high court sitting in Katsina State has sentenced 22-year-old Grace Isian to 1 year imprisonment at a correctional center in Katsina State for the attempted smuggling of 2 female victims from Edo State en route Kano to Libya via Katsina State. The zonal commander of NAPTIP in Lagos State, Mrs. Comfort Modupe Agboko, and her team recently paid a courtesy call on the Secretary to the Lagos State Government, SSG, Folashade Sherifat Jaji. Speaking on the purpose of the visit, the Lagos Zonal Commander, on behalf of the Director General of NAPTIP, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi, commended Lagos State for their efforts in curbing the incidence of sexual and gender-based violence, SGBV, while appreciating all the support received from the state government. She also implored for a stronger partnership with the state. Welcoming the NAPTIP team, the SSG condemned the exploitation of human beings by traffickers and applauded them for its drive to effectively execute its mandate, which is preventing the continuous proliferation of this heinous crime, especially in Lagos State. She promised that her office would continue to lend its support. Our Victim Story segment is up next. Keep watching.
I came to stay with my uncle in 2014. By then I was 10 years. I lived with him. Nothing happened till 2018. I woke up one morning. That time was during holiday. I just entered just one. So the wife was supposed to go to work, and we were home since we were during holiday. So she woke me and said I should go and open gate for the wife since she's going to work. So I stood up that morning. I went and opened gate. The wife went out. I went back to sleep. So the next thing, he called me from the room. I should come to the parlor. Then he has 2 children. They were in the room sleeping. The next thing, my uncle came and he started touching my breast. I was not comfortable, so I left the parlor there and I went to the kitchen. He came and met me in the kitchen again. I was running out to go and open the parlor door to go out. I found out that he had locked the door and he was with the key. He was just telling me that why am I afraid? Then I saw one of our neighbor pass and I wanted to shout. He just came and he dragged my mouth and covered my mouth. He said, why am I behaving like this? Don't I know that if I shout now, anybody find out that it's me that they will be blaming? So he started dragging with me. He started dragging my clothes. At that process, he used his finger to scratch me, my chest. Because he's the type of person that is huge. I became weak. I started crying. I started begging him. When he now finished, he gave me something to take. I don't know what was that. I told him I won't take it. He told me that if I get pregnant, that my aunt will throw me out of the house and he will not do anything about it. He now told me that, Chebi, me, I know he's my uncle, that he know my village house, he know my parents, that if I tell her, he will make sure he sends me back to the village and he will come back to that village again and make sure he kills all my family members because he knows our village house. And he told me that if I tell again that he's going to make sure he draws me out of school and make the wife not to believe me, what I'm saying. He continued until school resumed. Because he married 2 wives, he comes to our house 3 times in a week. We will make sure, even if he's not supposed to come there, he will come just because he wants to sleep with me. He will come anytime he knows that the wife is not at home. Then if the wife come back, sometimes when he's doing it, the wife will be at the gate calling. He will just please tell me I should wear my clothes and go out. So I found out that anytime he calls me to send me a message, that's what he normally does. I stopped going to answer him. He now went and told the wife that me have started disrespecting him. So he started creating trouble between me and the woman. So he continued like that for 2 years. The wife did not know anything. So finally she found out. That night she told me that she was going to help me, that she no worry, that we'll go and report him. The next morning, I don't know what to go and tell her. The next morning she called me and told me that she thinks that I think she doesn't know what I'm doing. That all those things I told her was a lie, that I was crying crocodile tears. That since I came to her house, that she noticed that me and her husband. That if she hears it from my mouth again, or she hears it from anybody's mouth again, what she will do to me, that I will not believe. So I kept quiet. The man that came and met me, he was telling me that she be me and he see what he told me. So he continued. I reported to my school. They did not do anything. The man still continued. I went to a female teacher that was very close to my school. They did not do anything. The man that continued. Until last year, February, when him and his wife had misunderstanding and they were thinking of where to send me to. They wanted to push me out on the street. Before the wife's sister now came and said that it's no good, that why would they destroy my life, finish, and they will send me out in the street, that she wants to take me. So every time they'll take people to the house to go and attack her. So she now came to NAPTIP last year to report. So the husband's sister warned me that that's how the man used to do, that anybody that comes to stay with him, he will make sure he rapes the person. If he's a female, he makes sure he rapes the person and he will force the person to be doing abortion. Okay, I want to thank NAPTIP. If they didn't come to my rescue, I don't know where I will be by now. I want to tell people outside there that no matter what, if a relative comes to carry a child from you, don't even release your child because you don't know who is who. And always be checking on your child. Don't just give your child to someone and you leave them there and be checking on them.
For more inquiries and support, or to report cases of suspected human trafficking, violence against persons and child abuse, please call NAPTIP hotline 0703 0000203 or the short code 627, or email us info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms at NAPTIP Nigeria or watch our videos on YouTube.
I must thank you for watching NAPTIP On The Move. Till I come your way again, don't forget to report cases of human trafficking and violence against persons. I'm Angela at Wegi. See you next week.